Why do you think that, I see it on the media, on news, online and stuff, there's a lot of people in business, businessmen, business execs that tend to have heart disease later on. Mm-hmm. Where's the connection in there beyond just the physical?
Yeah, right. Thank you. So the other thing about this is that we live in a society that's literally disconnected its heart from all other aspects of life, right? The factory farming and dairy farming, farms all over the world, that right there to me is the clearest distinction to this whole conversation. The banking industry, politicians, politics, the whole way that our world is wrapped around in the psychology and the decisions being made and the biases and motivations for these decisions that are being made in our world based on a cerebral focus has caused us to literally encase our heart in stone. And so it's kind of like the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, most people in the world, unfortunately, are not using their heart. We do know, based on research done by the HeartMath Institute, that we don't only have one brain. In fact, we don't even have two brains, right? We have our cerebral neurological brain, the nervous system, and this 2-pound organ up here. And then we have our enteric nervous system, which is our gut brain, right? We've always heard, like, you need to trust your gut. Well, that has a lot to do with the nervous system that's embedded within our digestive system. But more powerful than any of that is our cardiovascular brain, which is our heart. And I can go into all the research and all the data on how powerful the electromagnetic field is from our heart. Basically, our heart is like electromagnetic generator of our whole body, right? And so when our heart is sending out messages, those are indications on the direction we need to move in our life. That's called being in the flow. But most people have literally encased their heart in stone, and that's why we have the proliferation and the continuation of all these institutions that oppose the liberation and freedom process, basically. So, like, back to the factory farming thing, one of the most atrocious things happening in the world is the dairy farm and the factory farms that are happening all over the world. And I want to say this too on that note, is that what turned me into someone that just talked about raw food, just kind of lived it here and there, thought it was a good idea, is that I came to the realization that the way people are, the most intimate connection that most people have with animals is by eating them. Right? When I realized that, I was like, wow, okay, I need to relook at my life. I need to relook at my value systems and the prioritization of my values. I need to restructure the hierarchy in which I'm living my life, because that right there, if that is true, that's a big harmonic disturbance in the whole field of life, the whole lifestyle that we're talking about. That's causing a big tipping point, and I no longer wanted to be a part of that. And so that to me is the biggest thing. Once you start to remove yourself from the karmic impositions of factory farming, of all the things in our society that are causing these mass issues of consciousness, what ends up happening is you start to open up the gateways of your heart. And that in of itself, you ask me, why do a lot of business people go through these cardiovascular blockages, these heart diseases? And that is a big thing in the world of CEOs and businesses and ties and tight suits and business as usual and bottom lines, right? That's a big thing going on there, because if you're a bottom line consciousness, then you're going to subtract everything else that doesn't fit into getting your bottom line, right? If your bottom line is a certain number, right, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to make the bottom line, to make your quota, then that's a big problem. And that's going to show up, that's going to manifest itself in the body. It's not just going to stay in the etheric realms, right? There's a cause and effect here. So if people are causing pain in the world, that pain is going to be crystallized somewhere in the body, and it's going to manifest in some form of dis-ease. We might call that lung cancer. When someone doesn't speak their truth, they don't use their voice, then it might show up there. It's basically a messenger, and if someone doesn't get the message early on, then they may be recycled out of the planet for lack of getting